being. You don't have to go very far. You can look at yourself and realize that we today cannot produce a robot that will do all the things a human being will do. Can we? Can we? You ever thought about it? Wouldn't it be cool if you had a robot, you could push buttons in or tell it to do stuff? This is a fantasy, you know, that they've had on a lot of the science fiction stuff for years, especially in some of the more recent movies talking about iRobot. I don't know if you know that one. And it's so real, you know. Well, in case you didn't know, that really was a real person. They used the real person to speak, and it was a lot of sci-fi stuff that they put in there with graphics and so on, but it's not real, and you know it. Listen to this. We can't even come up with something equal to the human eye. Never mind the whole body. We can't match one eye of a human being. We can't. Because the eye automatically focuses. When you look close, do this. Look at your hand. Hold your hand up. Look at it. All right? Now quickly look up to the distance and your eye instantly focuses. Now if you're like me, I can't see good up close anymore. My hands got to, you know, but still your eye refocuses this quick. And we've got cameras over here, some real high-tech stuff, but it still isn't going to recover that quick. And if a light hits a camera lens and throws it off, it takes time for it to recover. And if it gets too cold, these camera lenses get this moisture on them and it messes them up. And I know because we work with that all the time. And these are very expensive optics, and we can't even match one eyeball. Oh yeah, and one other thing, if you don't bring enough batteries, I'm picking on somebody, I'm not going to mention who, it quits working. So when you start to think about it, we cannot produce even one molecule of protein. We can't even get close to copying what one eye can do. And then how about this one? Fingerprints. We use fingerprints for identification. Is that true or false? Because they're always different, aren't they? Have you ever wondered about that? You never thought about it? Well, because it's this there, you don't consider it. But also, have you ever noticed this? How many trees are in the world? Anybody know? You don't even want to go there, do you? Consider how many trees there are, how many kinds of trees there are, how many leaves are on all the trees, and there are no two leaves exactly alike. Huh? If you said, wait a minute, I'm sure we could find two alike. Try it. Try it. Because even if you found two that were the exact same color, they wouldn't be the same shape. If they were the same shape, they wouldn't be the same weight. The moisture content wouldn't be the same. It is impossible. And yet when you look at each one of them, they have a design. Each of them is, to me, fascinating to look at. Look at those leaves, and how did they come like that? Snowflakes is another one. They talk about no two snowflakes are alike. That one I can't prove, because by the time you get it into the lab, it melts. But for sure, these designs, why? How? Now here's something for you to think about. Again, just using your logic. Use your logic. Human beings cannot really see the planets with our naked eyes. We see stuff out there, but we don't know what we're looking at. It's just shiny balls at night. That's what it is. Just shiny stuff. And really, you would guess, and that's what they used to do. The Greeks and Romans made all kind of guesses at what was out there, didn't they? And gave it all kind of names. And how about molecules? And nobody ever saw molecules until we had microscopes. So until there were telescopes and until there were microscopes, we really didn't know what was out there. Not really. And even now we're not sure. We still have theories about the atoms. Isn't that true? But with both of these two optic assists, that of the macro and that of the micro, what do we observe? Round spheres. Yes? Round spheres. No triangles, no rectangles. All of them are spheres. And all of them are in some form of orbits. True? Rotating and in orbits. And then those orbits and things are all moving within other things. Is it true or false? Is that how it works? Have you seen some of the pictures how it works? How many of you, for instance, saw Men in Black? Anybody see Men in Black? Remember how it ended? When it did that shot where it comes up off the earth and then you can see the galaxy, the solar system, you see the Milky Way and all of this, and then suddenly all of it was really in a sphere and it was some big thing playing marbles. Remember that? You didn't see it? Yeah. How come they never did Women in Black? They should have Women in Black. For the Muslim sisters with the... Never mind. There's a topic for you, Eddie, next time. Do Women in Black for one of your movies. So, having said this, now I want you to think about this. How could it be 1,400 years ago, a man living in the desert who couldn't read, couldn't write, would come up with a very beautiful piece of, not poetry, something far beyond poetry, a recitation that clearly states about these orbs swimming, turning, even the earth, and it uses the word in Arabic, kawa. Kawa is the winding, like when a man puts a turban on his head, this is kawa, doing this. How? How would anybody know? And it mentioning about the sun in an orbit. Now that's not something that we knew until the last century. The sun also is in orbit. How? How? And then to look to the human being himself. And how are we when we first are created? Inside of the mother, what takes place first? And some of you, maybe you've seen some of the examples, some of the pictures under the microscopes when they show what happens at the point of conception when the egg is fertilized. When a sperm catches that little egg and it is fertilized, and you can only see that under a microscope, what happens? It attaches itself to the wall or the lining of the uterus, the womb, and then when it does that, it forms a clot of blood. And when it does that, it begins to pull its life from the mother, from the host, pulling its life from there. Yeah? Everybody with me? 1,400 years ago, did anybody know that? And I promise you they didn't. In the European circles of knowledge, they thought, even as recent as a few hundred years ago, that a human being had the full shape of a human being inside of the mother, only it was this little small guy, little tiny guy, and he just got bigger, 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 bigger. That's what they thought. They had no clue. But yet 1,400 years ago, the very first words that came in the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, were something like this. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaqa. خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ. Recite in the name of your Lord who created human beings from an alaq. I left it in Arabic. An alaq, and you go to the Mawrid or Arabic dictionary, and you find that an alaq is a leech. You know the leech? You go swimming in the water, and this leech thing gets on you and starts, it's a blood sucker. You know, blood sucking leech. Kind of like a lawyer. And what was I? Okay, so, and it says also that this is a clinging object, something clinging that attaches itself, and then also another name for it is blood clot. All three. And that is what a human being is when he starts out. And he doesn't start out as a human being in shape. He starts out as this little, looks like a chewed lump. And that is described in the Quran, mudgha. Mudgha means a chewed lump. If you have a piece of chewing gum, throw it down, that's a mudgha in Arabic. The words that are used in the Quran to describe the beginning of a human being